the Tower of Babel, Iran, and modern times. What do they have in common? What can the ancient story of the Tower of Babel teach us about relations between Israel and Iran? Could a story from thousands of years ago help us understand one of today's greatest conflicts? Welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to explore the Tower of Babel, one of the Bible's most mysterious and profound stories. Throughout this video, we'll draw parallels between this narrative and the modern context between Israel and Iran. You'll understand how an ancient quest for power and unity ultimately became a symbol of division and ruin, and how this still resonates in today's politics, culture, and faith. This connection between past and present brings valuable lessons that may help us better understand the complex relationship between Israel and Iran. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to follow this and other analyses that reveal the impact of biblical stories on today's world. Now, let's dive into this story and discover how Babel and modern conflicts are connected. The story of the Tower of Babel, a dream of unity that turned into division. The story of the Tower of Babel is told in the book of Genesis, chapter 11. It describes a period after the flood, when humanity spoke a single language. United, they decided to settle on the plain of Shinar and build a city and a tower so high that it would reach the heavens. This project wasn't just an ambitious construction. It symbolized humanity's ability to challenge the order established by God and to unite under a single purpose. The location of the Tower of Babel, Shinar, was in ancient Mesopotamia, which today includes countries like Iraq, Iran, and parts of Syria. Their idea was to form a unified civilization, where no one would be lost or scattered. However, God viewed this attempt at unity as a threat. Humanity's intention to reach the heavens symbolized a quest for absolute power, centralizing humanity into a single culture and language. God then decided to intervene, confusing their language and scattering them across the earth. This dispersion turned their initial unity into a diversity of languages, cultures, and nations, something that still defines the modern world. The meaning of Babel, pride and consequences. The story of Babel shows us that human unity, without a spiritual purpose and guided by values, tends to collapse. The Tower of Babel is seen as a symbol of human pride, where the pursuit of power overtakes the search for purpose and mutual understanding. This division gave rise to different peoples, languages, and cultures, but it also demonstrated how complex and essential communication and understanding between nations truly are. It's interesting to note that, although God interrupted this forced unification, He didn't destroy humanity. Instead, He allowed nations to develop in diverse ways, giving rise to a multitude of cultures that continue to enrich the world. This biblical event, although tragic, taught humanity an important lesson about the limits of ambition and the need to respect differences. The connection with the present. Israel and Iran as a contemporary Babel. Bringing the Tower of Babel into today's context leads us to reflect on relations between Israel and Iran. Both countries share an ancient history and a deep connection to spirituality and power. Israel is the land where the descendants of Abraham settled, with a history rich in religious traditions and a sense of cultural unity. Meanwhile, Iran, known in biblical times as Persia, also played a crucial role in the Bible's spiritual landscape, especially in the liberation of the Jews from exile in Babylon, through Cyrus the Great. However, the current reality of these two nations couldn't be more different. Israel was reborn as a modern state in 1948, after millennia of diaspora. Since then, the country has faced constant challenges to maintain its identity and defend itself against regional threats. On the other hand, Iran underwent a revolution in 1979, transforming into an Islamic republic, where politics is strongly guided by religion, and where antagonism toward Israel is promoted as part of its national identity. The Islamic Revolution and the birth of the State of Israel, the beginning of a deep division. To better understand the current conflict between Israel and Iran, we need to revisit these significant events. In 1948, following World War II, the United Nations decided to establish the State of Israel in ancient Palestine. For the Jewish people, this was a historic victory and the fulfillment of an ancient promise. However, Arab and Islamic countries, including Iran, viewed Israel's establishment as a territorial and cultural invasion, leading to decades of conflict. The situation became even more complicated with the 1979 Islamic Revolution, led by Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, which overthrew the monarchical regime of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. Before the revolution, Iran had close ties with Israel and even the United States. But after the revolution, Iran became an Islamic republic with a strongly anti-Israel and anti-Western stance. This shift was strategic, allowing the new government to gain support from other countries and Islamic movements, using a stance of opposition to Israel and Western imperialism. Nuclear programs and tension. A reflection of the Tower of Babel? At the heart of the current conflict between Israel and Iran lies the nuclear issue. Israel, although it has never officially declared possession of nuclear weapons, is widely recognized as one of the most powerful countries in the region, and its nuclear arsenal is a key component of its defense strategy. Iran, on the other hand, has begun developing its own nuclear program, which Israel and its allies see as a direct threat. This situation brings to mind the Tower of Babel. Just as the construction of the tower represented an attempt at absolute power, Iran's nuclear program represents a pursuit of autonomy and the achievement of a powerful status. Israel, viewing this as a threat, responds with alliances and sanctions in an attempt to halt Iran's nuclear progress. The lack of communication, distrust, and fear of what the other might do creates a modern Babel, where understanding is impossible and dialogue turns into conflict. The modern confusion of languages, propaganda, disinformation, and ideology. An interesting aspect is that, just like in Babel, where a single language was fragmented into many, Israel and Iran seem to live in distinct realities, where each speaks its own language, filled with ideologies, biases, and misinformation. Iran uses media to portray Israel as an enemy to be defeated. Conversely, Israel, along with Western allies, depicts Iran as a global threat, a nation seeking to destabilize world peace. This phenomenon creates a barrier of languages that complicates understanding and makes any kind of genuine communication nearly impossible. The role of allied countries. A new global dispersion? Allied countries also play a significant role in this new Babel. The United States and some European countries support Israel, providing financial and military aid, while Iran receives indirect support from powers such as Russia and China, as well as alliances with groups like Hezbollah and Hamas. This network of alliances seems like a new form of dispersion, where each group takes a different stance, as happened after Babel. Just as the dispersion of nations resulted in different peoples and cultures, this network of alliances further complicates relations between Israel and Iran, making peace an even more distant goal. Is there a path to peace? Lessons from the Tower of Babel for the Middle East. The Tower of Babel also teaches us that pride and the pursuit of power are dangerous. Israel and Iran might consider this lesson. If peace is truly desired, both sides would need to find a way to engage in dialogue. Instead of building a tower of their own power, they could attempt respectful communication, which may not imply mutual support but the respect necessary for peaceful coexistence. In conclusion, the Tower of Babel remains a powerful metaphor for understanding the modern world and the divisions that still affect us. When we look at Israel and Iran, we see how old the challenges of communication and respect between nations are, but also how mutual understanding is essential for peace. If you enjoyed this analysis and want to see more content that connects the Bible with today's reality, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Is there a path to overcome the confusion of languages between Israel and Iran? Let's discuss and dive deeper into this conversation. See you in the next video.